Okay, last session we discussed about working with interfaces. And all the points about interfaces we learned. Technically, what is interface? What is the role of interface? How to implement interfaces from external files also I told you. Now today we are going to discuss about another important, that is about class in OOP. So technically, what is a class and how do we handle this class? Technically, how you define a class actually. So technically in computer programming, class is a program template. We technically call class is a program template. That's how generally we define a class. So template means it contains some predefined data and logic, actually, which contains data and logic. Technically in computer programming, class is a programming template which contains data and logic. Usually template provides some data and logic which you can use in your application. Actually, data is stored in properties, and the logic is defined by using methods. So technically, data is stored in properties and logic is defined using methods. Actually, class is an logical entity that represents the business requirements. Class is an logical entity that represents the business requirements. So it represents our business requirements which we can implement and use in any location. So technically, what a class contains? Technically, class comprises of a set of properties and methods. Data is stored in properties and logic is defined in methods. So it is a logical entity that represents the business requirements. That is the reason class is also known as a model or blueprint for creating of objects. Model or blueprint for creating of objects. So technically objects are nothing but instances. instances of a class which are used to access the members of class, which are used to access the members of class. Actually, the concept of class-based programming was introduced by Johann Ole. That means Johann Ole and Christian Nygaard. Nygaard introduced the concept of class-based programming. Introduced the class-based programming actually, and first class-based object-oriented programming was Simula 67. It was introduced in early 1960s. Johann Ole and Christian Nygaard, these two people introduced the concept of class-based programming. So I told you about the object-oriented programming introduction. Actually, these two people, Johann Ole and Christian Nygaard, these two people working on simulation system. Those two people were working on simulation system. Actually, simulation system means a computer system comprises of a lot of processors. A computer system contains a lot of processors. That means several number of processors are present. Now, what is problem in this simulation system is, now they need some set of code to be used at every place. They need some set of code to be used at every place. Then they have to rewrite at every place. They introduced a concept that logically they can store data at one place, data and logic at one place, and they can access that from any location by using an object. By creating an object, they can access the data from any location. So this introduces code reusability. Without rewriting the code, we can reuse the code. So technically, this logical entity which provides all the data and logic for your requirements is called as class. We call this as a class. So it contains data and logic. That is a general basic point about the class. Now, actually, here you have to know one important. The members defined in a class, can have three access modifiers. First, we have to learn all these points, then we will start designing classes. Because in order to design a class, you should know all this. So the members defined in a class, that means either these properties or methods can have three access modifiers. So what are those? A, they can be public